Have you ever faced a challenge that felt completely impossible? No way out? No alternatives? A moment where the odds were so stacked against you that giving up seemed like the only logical choice? Today, we're journeying back in time, almost 2,500 years, to a narrow coastal pass in Greece where a small band of warriors stared down an empire and taught the world a lesson about courage that echoes to this day. Trust me, this is not just a school history lesson, but the story of the Battle of Thermopylae that will change your life forever. Our life-changing story begins not in the heat of battle but a decade earlier. In 490 BCE, the mighty Persian Empire, the largest the world had ever seen, launched an invasion of Greece. But on the plains of Marathon, something incredible happened. A much smaller force of Greek citizen soldiers, primarily Athenians, achieved a stunning victory, sending the invaders back across the sea. For the Persians, it was a humiliating defeat. For the Greeks, it was a legendary triumph. But the peace was short-lived. A decade later, the Persian throne was occupied by Xerxes I, son of the previous king. He was determined to succeed where his father had failed, to crush Greece and avenge the shame of Marathon. He didn't just want to win, he wanted to overwhelm. Ancient historians like Herodotus tell us Xerxes assembled an army of millions, a force so vast, it supposedly drank rivers dry as it marched. While modern estimates are more conservative, perhaps a few 100,000, the point remains the same. This was an invasion force of unprecedented scale. It was a tidal wave of men, ships, and steel, rolling inexorably towards the heart of Greece. As this immense army advanced, the Greek city-states, often rivals, knew they had to unite or be annihilated. They decided to make a last deadly stand at a place called Thermopylae. The name means hot gates, named for nearby hot springs. It was a brilliant strategic choice. Here, the mountains plunged almost directly into the sea, creating a narrow bottleneck. It was a pass so tight that a massive army's numbers would mean very little. They could only attack in small waves, funneling themselves directly into the Greek spears. Commanding the Greek defense was a king who would become a legend, Leonidas of Sparta. The Spartans were the most feared warriors in the ancient world, a society dedicated to military discipline from birth. Leonidas brought with him his personal bodyguard of 300 elite Spartan soldiers. They weren't alone. They were joined by several thousand other Greeks from various city-states, including Thespians and Thebans, all ready to defend their homeland. Still, their total number was minuscule compared to the approaching Persian horde. For 2 days, the impossible happened. The Greeks held the pass. Wave after wave of Persian infantry, including Xerxes' own elite unit, the Immortals, charged into the narrow passage, and wave after wave was repulsed. The Greeks used a tactic of feigned retreat, luring the Persians in, then turning suddenly to cut them down. Their long spears and heavy bronze shields formed an unbreakable wall of death. From his throne overlooking the battlefield, Xerxes reportedly leaped to his feet in frustration 3 times as he watched his best troops get slaughtered. The Greek strategy was working. They were bleeding the Persian army, buying precious time for the rest of Greece to prepare its defenses and muster its navies. But on the evening of the second day, disaster struck. A local man named Ephialtes, his name now forever synonymous with traitor, saw an opportunity for reward. He went to the Persian camp and told Xerxes of a hidden mountain path that would allow the Persians to bypass the main Greek position and attack them from the rear. By dawn of the 3rd day, Leonidas received word that his position was compromised. The Persians were coming from behind. The pass was about to be surrounded. The battle was, for all intents and purposes, lost. At this critical moment, Leonidas made a decision that would seal his and his men's immortality. He knew the main Greek army and the fleet needed more time. He understood that a panicked, disorderly retreat would be a disaster, likely getting the entire force caught and destroyed. So he gave an order. He dismissed the bulk of the Greek contingent, sending them south to warn the others and prepare for the next fight. He told them to retreat, to save themselves, to live to fight another day. But he, his 300 Spartans, and around 1,000 other dedicated allies primarily Thespians and Thebans who chose to stay, would remain. Why? It wasn't suicide. It was a sacrifice. They would form the rear guard. They would hold the pass to the very last man, ensuring the safe retreat of the main army. They knew they would not survive the day. They knew they were choosing to die. The final stand was a spectacle of raw, desperate heroism. When their long spears shattered, they fought with their short swords. When their swords broke, they fought with their bare hands and teeth. Herodotus tells us they fought until every last one of them was killed. Leonidas himself fell in the brutal fighting, and a fierce struggle erupted over his body, with the Greeks driving back the enemy 4 times to protect their fallen king before they were finally overwhelmed. Yes, Leonidas and his men fought fiercely until they were overwhelmed. No fear, no retreat, no surrender to the enemy, and yes, no regrets until the last breath. By the end of the day, the Persians had won the Battle of Thermopylae. The pass was theirs, but the cost was enormous. They had lost thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of their best soldiers to a handful of Greeks. More importantly, the stand at Thermopylae had galvanized all of Greece. The story of Leonidas and his men spread like wildfire. It transformed a desperate defense into a symbol of defiance. It showed the Greeks that the Persians were not invincible gods, but men who could be fought, who could be bled, and who could be beaten. This moral victory was crucial. The time bought by the Spartans allowed the Athenian navy to prepare for the decisive naval battle at Salamis, where they would lure the massive Persian fleet into narrow straits and crush it. The following year, the combined Greek armies, inspired and unified, met the remainder of the Persian land forces at the Battle of Plataea and won a final crushing victory. The Persian invasion was over. The empire's westward expansion was halted forever. Oh yes, I have indicated at the beginning that this is not just a history school lesson. So what is the lesson of Thermopylae for you today? Okay, now listen to this carefully. It's not just a story about warfare. It's a story about choosing to stand for something, even when you know you might fail. Leonidas and his men knew they couldn't win the battle, but they fought anyway because they believed in a greater victory, the freedom of their people. They chose to sacrifice themselves for a cause larger than their own lives. Is it possible that you exist today because previous generations, individuals maybe, people you will never meet, sacrificed their lives for you? In our own lives, we will all face our own Thermopylaes. They might not be battles with swords and shields, but they will be moments of immense challenge, moments where the odds seem insurmountable. It could be standing up for what is right in the face of popular opposition, pursuing a dream when everyone tells you it's impossible, or fighting for a principle when it would be easier to just give in. The legacy of Thermopylae teaches you, yes you, that true victory isn't always about winning the immediate fight. It's about the courage you show, the stand you take, and the inspiration you provide for others. It's about understanding that sometimes the greatest strength is found not in the power to defeat an enemy, but in the will to face them no matter the cost. The 300 did not save Greece by winning. They saved Greece by choosing not to lose their honor. They left behind a monument not of stone, but of spirit. A timeless reminder that even in the face of certain defeat, there is glory and purpose in fighting for what you believe in. Do you know that the generations in the future, in your family, or maybe strangers somehow, will know about you? What monument will you leave behind? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story as inspiring as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from history. I'll see you in the next one.